a moment, he went slowly and carefully through the gate, and suddenly heard a chuckle. His arch enemy was in the courtyard, feeding hundreds of his pet birds. Some were in heated cages, and others were flying freely around the icy towers of the Penguin's home base. Luckily, the villain had his back to the entrance, and Batman managed to hide quickly. The Penguin was talking happily to his birds.
"You think this place is a bird sanctuary, my feathered friend," said the Penguin. "But soon, very soon, it will be quite a different kind of sanctuary."
Interested, Batman tried to move closer to hear properly.
"Soon, this whole continent of Antarctica will be mine," boasted the villain. "I'll rule it myself. There'll be no police and no prisons. It's going to be a sanctuary for criminals who will pay me good money to keep them safe from the police of every country in the world. Once they are here, no one will be able to arrest them."
So that's his plan, thought Batman, edging still closer. Worst of all, the Penguin's new country will have nuclear weapons. He could easily start a third world war. I've got to get the Warhawk back to Gotham. Batman crept out through the gate and ran to the stupendous plane, hoping to pilot it back home. He touched the switch for the gangplank, but it had been booby-trapped. A chirping siren went off, and a set of bars dropped neatly over Batman. The Penguin turned up instantly to give Batman yet another blast of the knockout gas. Once more, the Caped Crusader was out cold. When he came to, Batman was lying on a sheet of ice. His arms and legs were each tied to a wooden stake driven deep in the ice. Above him, there was a huge slope with an overhanging cliff at the top. He turned his head to see the Penguin standing nearby. All round the villain were cages filled with birds. The Penguin started to hook up microphones to every cage.
"All these mics are connected to a giant sound amplifier," he said. "Pretty soon, I'm going to rattle the cages of these warblers, and they'll start to sing like crazy. There'll be so much noise from the amplifier that it will cause an avalanche, bringing down tons of snow and ice from that cliff just above you. I'll be far away,"
he chortled,
"but you'll be buried, Batman."
True to his word, the Penguin went to each cage and shook it. The birds began to twitter, and suddenly there seemed to be hundreds upon hundreds of chattering birds. The din was unbelievable. As the Penguin went back to his castle, chuckling, another noise started. There was a slow rumble as the ice from the cliff above began to crack and shatter. Batman could see that the wall of the cliff was beginning to split. Soon, huge boulders of ice would tumble down upon him, spelling his doom. He had to do something quickly. He managed to grab one of the wooden stakes that held him down and used his tremendous strength to break it. This gave him one hand free, and he reached into his utility belt for a batarang. Aiming it carefully, he tossed it straight at the wires that connected the microphones to the amplifier. With a hail of sizzling sparks, the chattering of the birds died away. When the batarang came back to him, Batman caught it one-handed. He knew that he had no time to lose, and working as fast as he could, he cut the rest of his bonds. Then, brushing the snow off his cape, he sped to the Warhawk. This time, he used the batarang to short-circuit the booby-trapped gangplank, and the stairs unfolded so that he could climb into the plane. But at the top, there was the Penguin, pointing his umbrella straight at Batman's face. Once more, the ugly green gas escaped from the parasol's tip. "That won't work this time, Penguin," said Batman. "I'm using the anti-gas nose filters from my utility belt." The Penguin swung round and raced for the cockpit. "Not so fast," said Batman. He took a small net from his belt and tossed it straight at his foe. The net expanded, completely covering the Penguin, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not get free. He was Batman's prisoner. "You're not getting the Warhawk, Penguin. It's too dangerous for any government to use, let alone one with you in charge," said Batman. "You can sing like those birds of yours to a judge. Then you're going behind bars where you belong." The Penguin opened his mouth to speak, but his reply went unheard as the engines of the Warhawk revved up to take the giant plane back to its hangar in Gotham City.